Right now. Very good. Welcome, everybody, to our monthly fellowship assembly. And today we have two major events that we are planning to cover. One is a classification talk, and the other one is information from the 2020 District Governors District Conference with our own Jim Ferguson, District Governor nominee, will be in charge of that conference, and Elly is the chair of the conference committee. So, my name is Peter Denoy. I'm president-elect, and I am currently in the Dominican Republic, just back from 4 days in Punta Cana, where I picked up a parcel from friends that brought it from Toronto. So important stuff that I could get a good reason to go out and travel and spend a few days on the beach in Punta Cana. Kitty, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Kitty Butchko, and I live in Canada, but I am currently in Anguilla, and I am an associate member of the E-Club of Canada 1. Very happy to be here.
Okay, Jeff MacFarlane.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff MacFarlane. I am at home in Okotoks, Alberta, just south of Calgary.
David Werrett.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Werrett, charter member of the club, and I'm in Cochrane, Alberta, just west of Calgary.
Jim, Yukon. Jim, yeah, we have to keep these Jims apart. So it's Dr. Jim.
Sort of. Jim Kenyon, I'm in beautiful, sunny Yukon, where it's plus 14 today, and the snow is mercifully going quickly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Vicky.
Hi, I'm Vicky Horsfield. I live in Guatemala 90% of the time. I only go back to Montreal when there's no snow to visit my kids.
Awesome. Jean-Michel.
Yes, I'm Jean-Michel Crepin. I'm in Calgary. It's actually 16 degrees right now. Beautiful blue sky, but we are going to have snow on Sunday. I'm the charter member of this club and treasurer of the club as well. Thank you.
All right, Jean, thank you very much. Jim Ferguson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Ferguson, charter member of the E-Club, and a past president and actually the current president for the Rotary Club of Canada 1. So welcome, everybody, and it's kind of cool when I look at Elly and know exactly the room that she's sitting in. So welcome, everybody.
All right, Jim, thanks very much. Bruce Kleberger.
Hi there, Bruce, and I'm in Surrey, BC.
All right, glad you make it. Bryce Lambert.
Hello, Bryce Lambert. I'm in the sunny Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And yeah.
All right, thank you. Lawrence, are you able to introduce yourself?
Sure, I can introduce myself. I'm Lawrence. I live in Calgary, but spend as much time as I can in Arizona. And right now I'm in Arizona.
Welcome, Lawrence. Glad you could make it. And last but not least, Elly, because Elly has a whole bunch of people to introduce.
Yes, I am Elly, and I am in Mexico. I am in Cofradía de Suchitlan. This is our last assignment at Project Amigo for the season. We organize 2-day events, and we bring lots of people from Manzanillo. So right behind me here is Barbie. Introduce yourself and where you're from, please.
I'm Barbie Flatt. I'm from the interior of British Columbia, Canada, of course. And we've been down here since the beginning of November. We go home in April. So we've had 5 months of wonderful, wonderful weather.
Harry. Harry is next.
Okay. I'm Harry. I'm Barbie's husband. And about a year and a half ago, we had the good fortune to meet Elly and Romero. And she introduced us to Project Amigo. And we think it's just a wonderful program.
Louise.
Hi, I'm Louise Anderson. I come from Calgary, but I always spend March and April in Manzo. I came for this 2-day little session in Suchitlan just to see what it was like, because I'd like to come back for the Fiesta week at Christmas time.
And Ramiro?
You know who I am, Ramiro. Nice.
Yeah, the guy with the red glass.
Yes.
And last but not least.
Hi, Laura Fabiola. I'm from Suchitlan. Me da mucho gusto estar aquí con ustedes.
Very well. Whenever we hear with volunteers, Laura comes on the bus to have dinner with us. That's always wonderful. And Jim also had the pleasure of meeting Laura. So that's all the people we have here right now. The rest is downstairs working in the kitchen. No.
Good. All right. Good. I'd like to move on with the program at this particular time. And Jeff is going to give his classification talk today. So Jeff, I'd like you to take the floor and let us know more about yourself.
Certainly. Thanks very much, Peter. First of all, Peter originally introduced this as a major event. I'm not sure that it's a major event, and it's always nice to run into a group of people who don't know me well enough to give me the floor. I'm going to do a quick classification talk. It shouldn't take too terribly long. I've kind of divided it into three sections: a personal section, a business section, and a Rotary section. So I'll start at the beginning. Sometimes they overlap because, of course, this has got some timeline to it. So I was born here in Calgary on February 21st, 1965. And for those of you that aren't accountants, that makes me 54 at the moment. And though I was born in Calgary, I actually grew up in the Medicine Hat area. We had, for the most part of my youth, a farm just outside of Medicine Hat. My father is a retired school teacher. My mother is a retired nurse. Both still live in Red Cliff, which is just north of Medicine Hat. I have two younger sisters. Oh, and my wife is joining us.
Well planned.
Yeah, it's not her time yet. I didn't get to her. I have two younger sisters. Kathy is a lawyer in Medicine Hat. Her husband Sheldon is a high school teacher, and they have 4 kids. My younger sister Tanis lives on a farm near Rocanville, Saskatchewan, which is just near the Saskatchewan-Manitoba border, north of the Trans-Canada Highway. Her husband Blake works as an electrician in the potash mine there, and they have 2 kids. After I finished high school in Medicine Hat, I went off to university in Ottawa in 1984. I remember the day quite well because I had to vote early in the election that year, and that happened to be election day when Brian Mulroney was elected. So the day I arrived was the day Brian Mulroney was elected. I started out in electrical engineering, but I found at the time I went to Ontario still had a grade 13, and in Alberta we only had grade 12. So in my first year math classes in engineering involved a lot of calculus that I had never seen before. So I was staying up all night doing math, and after a year of that, I figured that was enough of that, and I switched from engineering and ended up with a Bachelor of Social Sciences in Political Science and Economics. I went back to school at the University of Calgary because I soon determined about 6 months after graduating with a degree in political science and economics that you can't really get a job with degrees in political science and economics. So I went back to school and got my Bachelor of Commerce degree in accounting in 1991. I met my first wife, Marie-Claude, at the University of Ottawa. After graduation, we moved out to Calgary right after the 1988 Olympics. And we were married in Jonquière, Quebec, which is about 2 hours north of Quebec City in 1988. We have 3 children. The eldest, Emily, passed away from cancer in 2014, just before she turned 20. Patrick is now 23. He's studying to get his commercial pilot's license at Mount Royal University in Calgary. He also works as a flight attendant for Air Canada. So he's kind of the only student that gets to travel to Europe for the weekend while he's at school. Andre is 22. He's a business student at Laval University in Quebec City, and he's currently here in Calgary working with me. He's hopefully going to be here until September. Marie-Claude now lives in Quebec City, and she works as a translator there. Here's the part where you have to follow the bouncing ball. Between my first and second marriage, I lived with a lady named Adeline for 3 years, and we have a daughter together. Her name is Danielle. She's 19 and is now serving in the Air Force. She's currently stationed at CFB Moncton, where she's training to be a medical technician. I moved back to Medicine Hat in 1999, and that's where I met Angie when she had my car towed. She happened to work down the hall from, I had gone back to work for a small public accounting firm called Stark and Marsh, and she worked down the hall as a massage therapist. And one afternoon, I usually parked my car way up a hill that was about a 10 or 15 minute walk from the office. But I knew that my boss was away that afternoon, and he had a parking spot right behind the building. So I decided after being out at lunch that I would park my car in his spot behind the building. I left the office at 5 o'clock and went downstairs, and my car wasn't in the back. And I went, well, actually, that's not true. First of all, I walked all the way up to where I normally parked it, and it wasn't there. I went, oh, right, I parked behind the building to save me time from walking all the way up the hill. So I walked all the way back down behind the building, and my car wasn't there either. I walked back up to the flight of stairs to my office, and as I passed the office of the massage therapist down the way, they were quite excited and jumping around because they had the turkey that was parked in their spot all afternoon towed, and that happened to be me. So about $250 later, after I'd paid for all of the towing and parking fees, I figured somebody owed me a date, and Angie's partner was married already, so that left Angie, and that's how we ended up getting together. We have 2 children. Abby is 16, and I'm just going to share my screen for a minute if I can, Peter.
You can.
I can. So, Abby is 16, and she is currently on Rotary Exchange in Terlizzi, Italy. So I've marked here where Terlizzi is, and I'll just buzz out a little bit so you can see where in Italy she is, provided it continues to go along. So Abby left September long weekend, and she will be back on July 1st. We have a second daughter, Claire, who is 15, and Claire will be going on exchange to Rancheria, Brazil. And I'll buzz out so you can see where in Brazil that is. So she's a little north and west of Sao Paulo. And she will be leaving July 24th. So if you do that math correctly, Abby gets back July 21st and Clara leaves on July 24th. It's the next best thing to having them both gone at the same time. Moving into the business category. So after I graduated from the University of Calgary, I articled with an accounting firm called Deloitte & Touche, as they were then, in the small business office, for those of you that know Calgary, in the Kensington area. Our clients there were mostly small businesses. I got my designation as a chartered accountant in 1992. I then went out into industry and I worked for 5 years at Chevron Canada Resources and another 2 years at a company called North Star Energy that is now Devon. I worked primarily in the tax departments of those 2 places. In 1999, I moved back to Medicine Hat and joined the accounting firm of Stark & Marsh that I mentioned earlier. Stark & Marsh was a firm that originally had its roots in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, which is about 2.5 hours from Medicine Hat. And about 2 years into my being there, they had decided to sell the Medicine Hat practice. And so they sold off the practice to some existing accountants in Medicine Hat. And I decided not to go along and opened my own firm in 2002. I had my own firm there in Medicine Hat for about 10 years until a university friend approached me here in 2012. His partner was leaving public practice and he wanted to know if I would be interested in joining up with him and his firm here in Calgary. I said, yeah, that would be great. The only problem is we can't move to Calgary because at that point in time, Angie was in the middle of taking her teaching degree at the university, at the college in Medicine Hat, and she had 2 years left to go. So for 2 years, what we did was I commuted back and forth between Calgary and Medicine Hat, which is about a 3-hour drive. I spent 2 days a week at the office in Calgary, and then we continued to have the office in Medicine Hat, and I spent 3 days a week there. Once Angie was finished in 2014, we sold the practice in Medicine Hat, and my family moved here to Okotoks. So we've been here in Okotoks since the summer of 2014. We continue to have an office. Glenn and my partner and I have an office. And see, I always have to do that. Anytime you these days refer to a partner, I have to specify that he's my business partner. My business partner and I continue to have an office in Calgary at, it's at about Anderson and McLeod, so near South Centre Mall for those that know Calgary. We have a staff of 10. We primarily do work for small business corporations and their shareholders. So we do both all of the corporate accounting and tax work, as well as the personal tax work for the shareholders or families involved in the corporation. Moving on to the Rotary part, my Rotary roots actually go back to about the time I was 6. The Rotary Club of Medicine Hat, which just celebrated its 100th anniversary here last summer, has been hosting a music festival for going on 60 years now. I was looking today and couldn't see the exact number, but it's pretty close to 60 years that they've been running this music festival. And I was involved as a participant way back when I was 6 years old, and actually continued through most of my youth up into my teenage years. So that's how I originally was involved with Rotary. When I moved back to Medicine Hat and started my own practice, one of my clients asked me if I'd like to join the Medicine Hat Club. And it was the Medicine Hat Club that had originally sponsored the music festival. So I felt obligated to give back to the community what I had taken out, and ended up joining the Medicine Hat Club. A couple of years later, I ended up being the Director of Community Services for the club. And wouldn't you know it, the music festival fell under my direction, though I didn't run it directly. It was part of my responsibilities as Director of Community Service. While we were in Medicine Hat, Angie and I began to host exchange students. We've now had 8. So our first was Johan from Sweden, who's now studying his doctorate in psychology in New Zealand. We had Lassa from Germany, Luisa Mar from Venezuela, who's now working as a model in Argentina. She's also a dentist, so a dentist and a model. Baptiste from France was our next student, and he's now studying aerospace engineering in Montreal. Once we moved to Okotoks, we had Menno, who's from the Netherlands, Sarah from Spain, Marcia from the Netherlands, and just most recently we had Max from Italy, who has just moved out to his next host family here in February. I enjoyed Youth Exchange so much and thought it was such a great project that I became part of the District 5360 Youth Exchange Committee about 8 years ago. During that time, I have been a country coordinator. The country coordinators are responsible for students coming from and going to various countries. So during my time, I was primarily responsible for students going to and students coming from France, Belgium, and Spain. I then became the lead coordinator, and the lead coordinator's job is to arrange all of the exchanges between districts. I was then the vice chair for a year or so, and I'm now in charge of delivering the orientations to our outbound students, our inbound students, and our ROTEC students. So all in all, there are 5 different orientations that we do in a year for those different students, and it's my responsibility to put them all together and deliver them. So my involvement as with the orientations has now led me to the creation of what we hope is going to be a Rotaract Club. I currently meet online on Monday evenings, and Peter joins me on a regular basis with a number of former exchange students who are attempting to put together a Rotaract Club. So we do that on Monday nights. They are working currently on a project that they hope to put together for Shelter Box and involve both the inbound students and future outbound students. I was a member of the Medicine Hat Club for about 10 years until we moved to Okotoks. I then joined the Okotoks Club and was a member there for about 3 years. Until I resigned about halfway through my 18-month term as president, after I couldn't get some warring factions to come together and work together in that club. I continued to be part of the Youth Exchange Committee, and eventually somebody said to me, you know, Jeff, if you're going to be a member of the Youth Exchange Committee for Rotary, you really should be a Rotarian. So I looked around for a Rotary Club to join. I had done a couple of makeups with the Rotary E-Club Canada 1 from time to time, and I thought that worked just perfect for me. I now attend most of my meetings over the lunch hour, do the internet lunch hour part while I'm sitting at work, and are able to get my meetings in that way, and that seems to work really well for me. So, Peter, that's the end of my major event. If anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. That is awesome. And please, anybody has any questions for Jeff? We have a few minutes, obviously, to discuss and answer any of those. Yes, Kitty.
I have to ask, what was your participation at age 6 in the music festival?
Well, so there are a few different parts of the music festival. It doesn't involve just music. They also do a speech arts part. And back in those days when I was 6, the primary part for me was reciting a poem, which I couldn't remember and do for you now, even if my life depended on it. However, in subsequent years, I continued on mostly in speech arts, though I did do some piano and some saxophone. But in my speech arts parts, I had the opportunity to do a number of Shakespeare pieces. So I could almost do a part of the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet for you, as long as you're not too keen on it, and I would certainly get parts wrong. And I only do one side, so I'd need somebody else to do the other side, Kitty.
Well, we can do a virtual one. that may not have happened.
That's fun. Thank you very much. That's very interesting.
Thanks, Jeff. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say you must be 200 years old for all the things that you have already done in your life. You either crammed a lot in a short time or managed to do a lot. And
Yeah,
I also want to say my mother was born in Medicine Hat, so we have a connection.
Excellent. Actually, my folks are from Medicine Hat originally. I was only born in Calgary because my father happened to be going to the university here at the time I was born. So all my roots, both sides of the family, are actually in Medicine Hat.
Oh.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Any questions for Jeff?
I have a question.
Yes, Elly?
Regarding the Rotaract Club, I must have missed the notice about the meetings online, but I think a little article in the bulletin would be nice to tell us a little bit more about the Rotaract Club, where it's at right now, and encourage our members to attend every now and then.
Okay, we are just getting it up and running, so certainly we'll do that. We've actually had one of the Rotaract members join us for coffee on Thursday mornings. So yeah, we'll as we move along, we'll certainly do that.
Great, thank you. Great presentation, Jeff.
So Jeff, for the Rotaract Club, when's your timeline as far as getting it up and running? And
well, so the group of 3 or 4 of us, I guess, and Peter, have been meeting on a fairly regular basis since August. The group got together for its first actual meeting all together on March 2nd, David?
That sounds right. Yep.
Which was the ROTEC students are also part of the orientation for the next group of outbound students, and that orientation was held here in Calgary that weekend of March 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And so that group got together to do its own thing, and part of what they were doing was they had a meeting to see if they could drum up some additional support for the ROTEC club. So the 2 or 3 original group tried very hard to convince the rest of the group to join their ROTEC club, and so they're just sorry. So that was kind of their first meeting all together, was March 1st. Since then, what we've done is tried to get, they kind of elected an executive at that point in time. They put together a constitution, which is basically the Rotary International Constitution. There isn't much you can change in that other than the name of the club, and put together a set of bylaws. We've now passed all of that off to the club, and the club has been discussing at their board meetings, and I understand they have some questions that we'll have to get to a little bit later. Then from there, the only other thing that has to happen is it has to go from our club to the district governor for approval of the certification here, and then that certification sheet has to go off to Rotary International. So we have some work yet to do. Timeline, we've been meeting since August, so I assume we'll continue to meet on Mondays. When the club gets chartered, it gets chartered. I don't think any of them are in a big rush to have that actually happen. Just whatever time it takes to satisfy all the powers that be, we'll get there.
So another question, Jeff, do you have any contact with the Rotex students from from our area, from our district, through the Youth Exchange chair?
Yes. I'll say that the group that has been meeting on a regular basis on Monday nights is primarily former exchange students from 5360. We've been joined the last 2 meetings by a former exchange student from District 5180, which is in California. Our group is looking at putting together this event for Shelterbox, and they have been trying to get in touch with a couple of Rotaract clubs in 5370 to see if they'd like to do something at the same time. So I think they have some connections. I think they had also, there is one person that our group is talking to that lives in District 5370 that they're trying to convince to join us. But I'm afraid I don't know who that is or exactly how far along that conversation is at this point in time.
All right. Thanks. Thank you very much, Jeff, for your classification talk and all the work you're doing already since you joined our club for the youth services end of things. Something that we surely needed to have somebody as enthusiastic and proactive as you. Again, welcome to our club, and thanks for your classification talk. It was very good. Thank you all, and we'll move on. I'll give the floor now to Elly, who will start talking about her district conference, or not her, no, Jim's district conference. But it's also hers. Elly, go ahead.
It's actually all of ours.
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 All of the members. Well, thank you, Peter. Of course, you know, it's needless to say that we're all very proud of current President Jim, who as of July 1st will be district governor-elect for District 5370. So I think he's district governor-elect in waiting, or something like that. One of the most exciting part about this is that this will be the very first time in the Rotary's history that there will be a governor from an E-club. That has never been done before. And that will certainly put us on the world map. One of the responsibilities of a district governor and his or her club is to host a district conference. And we're all really excited about this, aren't we? I guess we're not as excited. In 17 months, we expect to welcome 400 Rotarians and friends to Edmonton. And together we will celebrate our success and that of our district. Together we will share our success, and together we will learn. It is going to be a fantastic conference. It's not a simple task to organize a conference, especially with our members spread out across the globe. However, several of our club members, past district governors from our district, and Rotary friends have stepped forward to be part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And this will be a wonderful opportunity also to showcase our club and a way for each of our members to get involved. There is a job for everybody, and it can be a large or a small job. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. We have something for you. During the district conference in Grand Prairie this October, we will start promoting our conference and hope that many of our members will attend. We will start taking registration during that time, and we invite all our members to be part of the excitement. But more importantly, we are counting on a large presence, and here you see the crowd that we are expecting during the 2020 conference. And our conference will be held September 17, 19. And I'm sure you will all be there to support Jim, either in person or via our typical E-Club appearance. And being an E-Club, we will have features that no other conference ever had before. And you will hear about some of these features tonight, Bryce being here, and over the coming months. It's just amazing what we can do with technology. There's no end to it. So tonight, I would like to introduce some of our team members. And we have some here. And that person will give you a little brief description of their role and plans that they have. I'd just like to introduce you to those that are not here tonight, but of course, Jim, you know, our district governor, who will oversee the entire conference and approves of all our plans, or not. I'm the chair of the conference, and I will facilitate the committee meetings and oversee these committees and hopefully recruit more volunteers until we have a volunteer services chair. Our co-chair is Terry Brown. Terry is currently on vacation somewhere in Vancouver, I believe. Terry is a spousal Rotarian. I should mention actually that she was awarded District Service Above Self Award last year or the year before. She's a very hardworking Rotarian spouse. She has a lot of experience with district conference. She pretty well single-handedly organized the Westlock Conference in 2017. And Terry will look after all aspects of the venue, meals, and some of the entertainment. And subcommittees under Terry's portfolio are, of course, our First Lady Jocelyn, who is now a member of the Rotary Club of Athabasca, and our own member, Judy Brown, past district governor. She's looking after House of Friendship. And Bryce will be looking after, guess what? Technology. I do want to make special mention of Bryce and his company, Kiwi Productions, because Bryce has some amazing ideas that we would have never thought of. He's got the experience and all the technology, and he has offered us some fantastic deals through his company. And Bryce will be working with Peter, who will promote our conference, hopefully throughout the eClub world. Tammy Wow, who is also not available tonight, she is Secretary Extraordinaire, and she will deal with administration, agendas, minutes, and anything having to do with administration of our meeting. We have past district governor Tim Shields from the Rotary Club of Dawson Creek. He's looking after the budget and the financing, making sure that we do not overspend, making sure that we bring in enough money to put on the type of conference that we want. Another past district governor, Ross Tyson from the Rotary Club of Edmonton Northeast. Ross will be looking after the programs and the speakers, and he has a lot of experience also with conferences, being part of several conference organizations. Another past district governor, my friend Betty Skrapnik, will be in charge of everything having to do with hospitality, including protocol, hosting our VIPs, transportation, Sergeant at Arms, the memorial, and more. Betty sends her regrets. She is currently packing up house in Mesa, I believe. She was not able to join, therefore. But she asked me specifically to mention that she is really honored to be part of our committee, and she's looking forward to her involvement and hopes to have some of our members on her team, on her committee. More past district governors. Frank Reitz, together with his wife Barb, both Rotarians, they will make sure that we will bring in enough funds to put on a spectacular conference, and will secure sponsors and club support. I don't know if I should mention, but our own member, Bruce Kleberger, past president from our club, and Keith are working on a possible fundraising idea, but I don't believe if it's anything concrete yet to talk about. But if Bruce feels that he wants to talk about it, I would like to invite him after this presentation to mention it. And if any of our members have any suggestions, please let Frank know. You can contact me, and any great ideas would be great. Another star in our district is Tamara Larson. She's our district youth services chair, and she will do an amazing job involving the younger generation or young professionals, not necessarily interactors or rotoractors, but young professionals. And Jeff will be also on her committee and hopefully bring on some of our future Rotaract Club members. And I'm sure all of you remember Lawrence, who has been an enormous help to our club with our website. His expertise is web design, and through his company Sitescapers, he will be developing our website and be in charge of registration, which is also kind of managed by our district. And with the help of our e-club member Sharon Blaker, who has also a lot of experience in registration for conferences. And Sharon also gives her regrets she was not able to attend tonight. You may be wondering how you can help. There are many, many ways that you can help and be part of the success. And I like to name just a few different ones. First of all, I would like to encourage you to register for the conference in Grand Prairie, which is October 3 to 5, and be there for the promotion and the pre-registration, because Bryce is gonna do some exciting things to promote our conference. And then please mark your calendar for September 17, 19, 2020. Then we'll be in Edmonton. We ask you to spread the word and help us, help the fundraising committee to secure corporate sponsors or even other sponsors. We do intend to open the conference to others, to the general public, not just Rotarians. So that's an opportunity for all of us to share our website once we have it live and invite others to join us in Edmonton. We also need a very committed person helping us to promote our conference on social media. And there's lots of people that do a lot of stuff on social media, but we need somebody who's committed and posts something on a regular basis. And that will be basically the best way to promote our conference to the general public. So you can contact Jim or myself if there's a specific area you wish to volunteer at. So if Bryce, I'd like to invite Bryce first maybe to talk briefly about some of his ideas. We do have time. And then if Bruce wants to think of something he likes to share, and of course Lawrence, and then of course, finally, Jim will have the last word.
Just so you know, Bruce has left. He had to go.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay, and Peter may have something to share. So Bruce, is there anything you'd like to share, or is it too early?
Bryce, you mean?
Bryce. Bryce first. Bryce.
No, it's all good. I think like if people want to get a more in-depth look at what we've talked about so far, they could watch that last webcast or that last conference that we had that's on our YouTube channel. But for the gist of things, I think in the end of promoting the event, streaming the event, and getting the interaction of people that aren't in the event, bringing people from outside the conference into the conference are a couple of the ideas that we had presented in our last meeting. That's on that YouTube video, as well as the content creation for I think that social media stuff that we had discussed. In promoting our conference, being able to supply that content in a video format, so it's a little bit more interactive, and We had talked about some registration stuff when it comes to the live stream, so we can do lead capturing, and then yeah, just making that presentation, our webcast a lot more dynamic and interactive and captivating. But then the key thing, which is making the conference a real spectacle, a real event, putting out something out there that, you know, people haven't seen before, or you know, that's just not present at a lot of Rotary conferences. And so that's from like the presentation on stage to some of the, you know, the graphics that we use, so some of the lighting that we use, you know, really give it a real wow factor for the people that are attending. And then hopefully by the people who look at it who are watching online going, you know, dang, I should have been there. I'll definitely make sure that I'm at the next one, whether that's ours or another event, and kind of just raise the bar. And that's what we're hoping to do with this conference is raise the bar and set a new kind of standard for, you know, let people know like, hey, that Rotary E1, you know, Canada E1 is here to play, and they're a force to be reckoned with, kind of thing, like have real impact. So that was kind of, and a lot of that was through the technology. To get more in depth, I think will probably be best just take a look at that video, the YouTube video that we done from our last conference, or our last meeting, sorry. And yeah, that would give you a more in depth. If somebody does step forward for the social media content, like I said before, we would try and, you know, we would hopefully have an arsenal of content to release on a time-based schedule prior to even the Grand Prairie conference. As more details come in for our conference and as we solidify things, we would build content now, so that way when the launch date happens on at the Grand Prairie conference, we've got, you know, we're off to the races and way ahead of the game, so that we can focus on other things, and the marketing and everything like that is kind of the marketing content, at least, is taken care of already. So that's my 2 cents, I think.
Great. Jeff, is there anything that, any ideas that you have to bring young professionals to our conference?
Two things. First of all, being that I'm working with a bunch of young professionals, I don't know if they might be interested in doing the social media content or not, but rather than have one person, maybe we could assign it to the whole Rotaract Club. I don't know if any of them are into that kind of thing, or if they're so inclined, but I've made a note here and I'll discuss it with them on Monday. The second thing that came to my mind was, I believe that there is an Interact club from Stettler that is planning on setting up a shelter box city somewhere near the conference in Olds when 5360 has it in May. And I'm wondering if we might be able to do the same thing. The idea is that instead of getting a hotel room, people would pay to sleep in one of these shelter box tents, and you would have a whole shelter box community that people would stay for, and the proceeds from staying there would be donated to shelter box. Again, that's something that the Rotaract group could probably take care of.
Would you discuss that with Tamara also, maybe?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great idea. See? We talk about it, we get great ideas. Lawrence, would you like to share some of your thoughts? Lawrence.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it's nice to see some of you all again. Elly has managed to recruit, that's the word she uses, recruit me to help her out with the website, and I'm really happy to take that on for her. We've had very preliminary discussions about what needs to be there and how we're going to do it, and we've set a budget. Our next steps are really to sit down and talk about the content. So if anybody has ideas about the content, I mean, a conference website, they're all the same. They all list, you know, who the speakers are, what the events are going to be, all those types of things. So it's not going to be a spectacular website because it just needs to tell people what's going to be at the conference. So I don't see it as a huge problem or challenge. It's just going to be piecing it all together, and I'm sure Sharon will answer all the questions that I have, and I'm going to prepare a whole list of questions, and then we're just going to go from there. So we're probably going to start real building work in the next month or two. And then, you know, by summer, we should have something that people can see and comment and suggest and look at and things like that.
So you will connect with Sharon and get started on content with her.
Yeah, I've got a few things on my plate right now. Otherwise, I would have started already. But certainly in the next month, I should free up some time and be able to start formulating something.
Peter.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the participation and contributions that we already are seeing from our members. However, I like to get the whole club involved. I mean, it's our responsibility as a club to support Jim in this endeavor as he becomes the district governor. And the conference will be one of those things. In other areas, we have to support the district governor as well. I'm still, even though I've been in Rotary for some time, but it's still the thing that I like the best, that when a district governor asks you to help, to do something, you say, okay, how much, how long? You never say no, because we all have to help and work together to do that. And so we are on the right track with our club, with getting participation, and as more jobs become available, we all can contribute. And we will, and I'm very pleased with that. You can be assured that the the live streaming is something that I'm involved with in that, especially trying to promote that not just within the district, but around the Rotary world. And we are still only a very small percentage of e-clubbers around the world of all the Rotarians that are there. However, our communication and our ways of communication has a tremendous impact everywhere. We had a North American presidents meeting on last night, and there were 28 different e-club presidents present and discussing things on how to raise funds. We're doing those kinds of things on a regular basis, and I think that is what makes the world realize that, yes, they're e-clubbers, but they're starting to find out that what we can do can contribute to Rotary in general in the same level, if not more, as it is with the Terra Club, for that matter too. So thank you all for stepping up, participating, and you will hear more from me to get others to join and assist Elly and her team to make this a conference that will not be forgotten for a long time. Of course, we record it and keep sending it out to everybody, then they will not forget. But
so I'd like to give Jim the last word, but is there anybody else who would like to comment? Has any ideas?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I totally agree with Peter. This is our district conference. As I travel around and talk to other members in our district from Terra clubs, a lot of them don't really understand that our district has an e-club, and they always ask, well, what's an e-club? What does it do? So really the focus, this is going to have a huge amount of publicity for our e-club and for the e-clubs around the world. So I love the way that it's getting set up here. There's good participation from the e-club members, and I call the committee chairs and the people that have stepped up so far, it's a dream team. We've got an excellent group of people there. So, and I like the ideas that are flowing from our committees. But make sure, Elly's a busy lady. If she contacts you, please help us out in whatever way that she's asking for. So, but this is going to be our show. This is something very special. So, and I know we're going to do an excellent job on it. Back to you, Peter.
Okay, anybody has any more contributions? Elly, you're still something else that you want to mention? Also about members or not, or the people that were there, they have left?
No, they all went downstairs because dinner is being served. So.
Oh, okay, good. Well, we can cut it short. You can have here something to eat, no doubt. No, we're doing very well. Anybody else has any more questions or contributions? Please speak up.
I'm going to ask what's on the menu, Elly.
I have no idea.
You know what? The food is so excellent there. It's always traditional Mexican food. But we were there for the week, and it is phenomenal. The cooks are just excellent. They're chefs.
Too much food.
Good stuff.
Good. Okay. If we don't have any more further, we will just cut this one short and thank everybody for participating, for coming, and listening to Jeff again. Thank you for your classification talk, and Elly, thank you for all the work you're doing with the conference in mind. It's a tremendous job, and just hurry back to Canada. It will help make it much easier for us.
Excellent meeting. Thank you very much.
You know, the reason that I'm the chair is because you can't say no to district conference.
District governors. Yes, that's right. Excellent. Okay, everybody. Thank you. I am stopping the recording.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.